Dear friends, 522 days over. A huge US military package to Taiwan is on its way officially, and there are many military as well as geopolitical bloggers have commented, in fact wondered, what if China too does the same to help the Russians militarily in terms of equipment, arms, ammunitions, etc. From the war zone in north, the Russian army has been making gains. They have moved towards Sinkovka in Kupiansk region. They also pushed Ukrainian army in Tabivkoe, Kotlyanivka direction, and they have moved below the railway embankment almost on 500 meters depth and 3 kilometers wide. Towards Soto, Russian army has reconfirmed its control over Novogorivka or Sverdlovka, and towards Karmazinovka salient, the Russian army has expanded its zone of control. In south, in Remikov salient, the Ukrainian counteroffensive or forward movement has been stopped by Russian counteroffensive, and in fact it is forced to withdraw to the northern outskirts of this establishment. Ukrainians' attack towards Eurozone was premature, as so far they haven't established full control over Staromayorskoe, now which is under fresh attacks from the Russian, and difficult to say who controls the maximum part of this establishment. Fierce battle is also on towards Priyotne direction. In Orikhov direction, battle is on without any much changes. Incidentally, heavy rains are reported all over Zaporozhye Front, and hence the counteroffensive is not very conducive to start. In short, the southern flank all along Zaporozhye region has become stagnant again, and Staromayorskoe has become a grey zone. In east, the main battleground, that is Bakhmut, remains stagnant. The Russian aerospace forces have struck a detachment of mercenaries and destroyed many, including Georgians. Interdiction missions are on quite heavily from both the sides. Ukrainians have struck Chongar Bridge between Kherson and Crimea with Storm Shadow missiles. They have also tried to hit railway between Kherson and Crimea with 12 Storm Shadows, but failed. The Russians claim that they have destroyed all of them. This itself is a surprise. Ukrainian drones did manage to reach Moscow and damage 2 office buildings. Russians are continuing their interdiction missions, and they also included some suburbs in Sumy regions, causing heavy damage and blasts. Putin claimed that Ukraine has lost close to 415 tanks and more than 1,300 armored vehicles since the start of counteroffensive on June 4 by the Ukrainians. The Russian-African summit ended in St. Petersburg, and despite lesser number of the nations that joined the second year, that is this time compared to the previous one, this could be called as a success as far as Russian geopolitical and diplomatic offensives are concerned. Polish Prime Minister has said that more than 100 Wagner fighters are moving towards Poland from Belarusian side, and this, he says, it's matter of huge concern. At the end of the summit, Putin gave the reason why he is not attending BRICS summit in South Africa, says that he is needed in Russia more than elsewhere. And he also reminded the West about Iraq, Libya, Sudan, Syria, and the so-called international laws, and why it fails in Ukraine. Well, he has a point, but it does not matter as far as West is concerned, and war is continuing on a larger scale with every passing days and weeks. and we are reaching to a global disaster. And that's the end of my today's talk. Thank you, friends.